We truly have been blessed this Mega Man May. Capcom just dropped a brand new gameplay trailer for Mega Man 11, showing off a bunch of new features of the game and giving us more of an idea how things are going to turn out. Is this the next great stride for Mega Man, or is it just going to be another Mighty Number 9? Let's find out! So if you haven't watched the trailer in full, I'd recommend doing so, because what I'm going to do is break it all down for you and give you my thoughts on what we can expect from this game. I'll link the trailer in the description. So this thing starts off with some voice acting, which confirms that Mega Man 11 will be fully voice acted. Something I'm always skeptical of when it comes to games like Mega Man that rely on good gameplay rather than exposition. Heavily voice acted scenes tend to bring the game to a screeching halt when all you want to do is get back into the action. Anyway, the opening scene is pretty clearly Dr. Wily talking about some invention from his youth, which we'll find out more about later. We're thrown right into some gameplay, presumably Blockman's level, and man, this game looks slick. The backgrounds have a ton of depth and seem to be fully hand-painted. All the colors are super vibrant and pop like crazy. The enemies and stages themselves all look really smooth and crisp. I'm genuinely thrilled with how this game is looking from a visual standpoint. It's also definitely worth mentioning the soundtrack, which is such a huge part of the Mega Man experience. We don't hear much of it, but what we do hear sounds right on track with the series, just totally updated for modern consoles. From these first moments of gameplay, there are a few elements we can take away immediately. Charging and sliding are back. In my opinion, Mega Man ain't Mega Man without charging and sliding. Mega Man 9 and 10 went back to the Mega Man 2 formula of excluding them, so I thought it was possible that Mega Man 11 wouldn't have them either. But they're back, and I couldn't be happier. Also, it looks like Mega Man still has lives, which isn't surprising considering every Mega Man game has lives, but hear me out on this. I'd like to see games like this start getting rid of the whole live system. It just feels outdated to me, but this is a small nitpick, and it's nothing we weren't expecting. Another small nitpick I've had since the Mega Man 11 reveal trailer is Mega Man's run cycle. It just doesn't exude that same determination that his classic and X sprites do. He always had this appearance of just barreling headfirst into danger, but this new Mega Man runs a little more upright, like his heart's not totally in it. Like I said, small nitpick, but I mean, I know how I like my Mega Man. Some of our favorite classic Mega Man characters are making a return. We see gameplay of Rush, Eddie, and Beat, as well as lots of familiar enemies. There seem to be plenty of new ones though, so that's good too. Most characters seem to have in-game voiceovers, as we've seen from the PlayStation era of Mega Man, which is fine as long as it's not totally asinine. Everything in this trailer looks consistent with how a Mega Man game should be. Stage design seems right on the money, the difficulty seems there, the controls appear to have the exact right flow for Mega Man game. We even see the return of disappearing blocks. Yay! Auto's shop is also back, something we've seen from Mega Man 7 onward, and the usual power-ups seem to be available. Something interesting I noticed is that the number of bolts you can potentially hold seems really high. I can only imagine later in the game some crazy awesome but very expensive upgrades start becoming available. A totally new feature introduced in the game, the double gear system. Something Wily apparently invented when he and Dr. Light were college students. I'm not sure how Light gets his hands on one, but he installs that bitch in Mega Man, giving him a few new tricks. Mega Man can activate the speed gear to enable him to move much faster, which works more like a time-slowing mechanic, leaving Mega Man at regular speed, and that's probably a smart way to do it. The double gear can also allow Mega Man to overcharge his buster and fire a double shot, one of which appears to be red, so that's pretty dope. This next ability isn't explicitly mentioned in the trailer, but I think we do see it in action during the Blockman fight. According to the official Capcom site, if things are looking desperate, Mega Man can also activate both gears at once when his health is critically low to slow time to a crawl and unleash his full potential in one massive overcharged shot from his Mega Buster. Careful though, you can't turn this technique off once it's active, and Mega Man will be severely weakened afterwards. The double gear system seems really cool, but my big fear is that it'll make the game too easy. But I really hope the game is balanced around actually needing to use it from time to time. Another exciting chunk of info we get in this trailer is some new Robot Master action. We're introduced to Fuse Man with that classic boss intro theme. Ah, so refreshing. This dude's design is great, and the fight with him looks wild. He's crazy fast, so I guess the speed gear is going to be an important thing here. This boss battle seems to be pretty amped up compared to anything we've seen in the classic series, and that is a-okay with me. From everything we've seen so far, this game seems like classic Mega Man, but with some of the added adrenaline found in the X series. Like I said, I'm totally okay with this. Next, we get a glimpse of the Blockman fight, whose power we've seen in action already, but so far we've only seen art stills of him. Easily the most interesting thing about this battle is the giant freaking rock monster suit this dude gets in at half health. This leads me to believe a lot of these bosses will have an enrage mode at low health. According to the Capcom site, he does this by using the power gear, so it looks like Light and Wily are both using this thing to power their bots. Fuse Man was flying around the screen pretty damn fast, so maybe he's using the speed gear. Who knows? All in all, these boss fights look like they're gonna be fun as hell, which is awesome. awesome because that's honestly my favorite part of Mega Man. In addition to the trailer, I found some screenshots on the official Capcom site showing us some stuff not in the trailer. There were a whole bunch of them, but I'm just gonna talk about the ones showing us new stuff. First off, we have one of Dr. Wily busting into Light's lab with his iconic UFO. Otto seems to be cowering in fear on the floor, and Mega Man, out of his armor, appears to be wielding some kind of futuristic plunger. The next one seems to be of a mini-boss, another aspect of the Mega Man series I love, and this fight looks really dope. I can only assume they'll all be this awesome. This last one is of what Mega Man will look like with Fuse Man's weapon equipped. Pretty cool, I must say. What's interesting about this though is that we also have this same style of image of Mega Man in his normal armor, as well as with Blockman's power equipped. What I noticed were there these little stat meters that seem to change depending on what weapon is equipped. Is this just for flavor, or will the different powers and armors actually change Mega Man's combat stats? Definitely something for us to theorize about. So there you have it. I've been cautiously optimistic about this game since it was announced, but from what we've seen in this new trailer, it looks very promising, and I'm super excited. Fortunately, we don't have to wait all that long to play it. It launches on all current gen platforms and PC on October 2nd, so that's like only 4 months from now. Get your weapons ready!